Today, I'm giving you an inside sneak peek of what coaching looks like with me inside the Fruitful Fertility Method. So each month we do a group monthly coaching call and we talk about a certain tangible topic that my clients are working through, maybe questions they have or things that come up repeatedly, patterns I see. And we go through that and then we open for questions. And so everybody gets personal feedback on where they are in their journey and the questions they have, maybe around this certain topic or just anything they have. You really get that personalized feedback, which is what makes it feel so special and the fellowship of all the women in there. But today I'm going to share with you a lesson I recently did because I really think it's going to pertain to you as well. I've been having conversations with people on Instagram talking about they've done this testing and this testing and this testing and they've done this and they want to know what else to do. And I'm going to answer those questions for you. So today it's a little bit of a heart check and it is very tangible information. So if you're listening to this while you're going down the road, it's definitely one you want to come back and listen to again when you have pen and a piece of paper to take a few notes. So let's dive right in. Welcome to the Fruitful Fertility Co. podcast, your holistic, faith-filled, no-fluff guide to getting pregnant naturally. I'm your host and TTC BFF, Tori Black. Here to pull you out of your weariness and cheer you into God's calling to be a mother, all while giving you the simple bite-sized steps to improve your fertility. Let's trade stress and overwhelm for hope, because girl, you look fertile to me. Okay, this lesson is based around testing. So if you were someone who maybe you've done blood labs at your fertility clinic or with your doctor, maybe you've even gone some holistic routes and you've done HTMA or you've done some gut testing and you're like, I just don't know what my next step is, I'm going to help you kind of determine what that looks like. And again, I'm pulling this directly from my Fruitful Fertility Method group coaching call, the most recent one we had. So if this resonates with you, you would like personal feedback, you would love to have someone guide you and encourage you and give you a plan personalized to you, I want you to fill out the application in the show notes. That's going to get you a free 20-minute clarity call where we're going to go through what you've tried, a little bit about your story, and how we can best support you and if the Fruitful Fertility Method is your next best step. So fill that out, we'll get in touch with you and get your free call set up. But now let's jump right into testing. So first, anytime you're considering more testing, I have certain questions I want you to ask yourself, okay? Because sometimes more testing is helpful and sometimes more testing is just noise. And the first question is, have I given my first test enough time, which is at least 90 days? So let's say that you went to your doctor or you're working with a functional medicine practitioner or whoever, and they gave you a plan. They said, here are the answers to whatever labs or testing they did. Here is your plan for the next 90 days. You have to give it 90 days. It really takes that long to see a change in your body. So when we think about egg quality, sperm quality, regulating our cycles, and this could pertain to anything like skin issues, anything like that, you really need to give it 90 days. If you give it 30, it might not be enough. If you give it less than 30, it definitely is not enough. So 90 is really the benchmark. And so if you're someone who is a little bit like me and you are a shiny object syndrome kind of gal, so let's say maybe you did acupuncture and you've only been doing it for 2 weeks, but now you saw an ad for how you need to do Mercier therapy. So you want to jump off the acupuncture train and go to the Mercier therapy train. I get it, but you really need to stick with your acupuncture for at least 90 days. So that's just an example. So that is your first question to ask yourself. Have I given my first protocol enough time? And this could even be like lifestyle changes you've given yourself. Let's say you've been trying to go to bed earlier. Have you been trying to go to bed earlier consistently for 90 days? Have you been taking your Rise and Source or your supplement for 90 days? You really need to hold that benchmark, and that will keep you from spiraling into the next rabbit hole and kind of hold you accountable and help you see results. Consistency is the key. So the next question you can ask yourself is, how are my symptoms? And this is going to seem counterintuitive, and this is why it is really important for you to work with a specialist who knows what they're talking about, because if your symptoms are better, that's a good sign that what you're doing is working and you should stay right where you are. If your symptoms are worse, that could be because you're on the right path. And I know that sounds weird, but a lot of times I see with my clients that first month we work together, their period gets thrown off. And essentially what's happening is we are putting minerals, we are giving the body what it's actually asking for, maybe more rest, more minerals, and the body doesn't know what to do with it because it's been operating at such a low level that now that it has the resources it needs, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know what to do with all this magnesium, even though it needs it. So sometimes if you feel worse, or your symptoms are worse, or things like your period was normal and now it's not normal, or this month it was shorter or this month it was longer, it's because what you're doing is actually working. But again, you really need that guided professional opinion on that. If your results are indifferent, they're no better, no worse, then it might be a good time to consider the next step, more testing, trying something else. But better, stay where you are. Worse, stay where you are. Indifferent, okay, you can move to the next step, especially if it's been after 90 days. Number 3, this is the gut check question, especially as a Christian woman on a fertility journey who wants to get pregnant naturally, honor God, all the things. The next question that I'm going to ask you, which is probably the most important one, is does moving forward feel like obedience or does it feel like control? I'm going to do a podcast episode sometime soon on control freaks, and I can because I am one. But really, a lot of times the next step, taking that next step, doing more testing, more options, more programs, is about control. It's not about obedience. There is a thin line, and this is something you're really going to have to discern for yourself, because we do have this idea that we can't sit around and wait on God, right? Like that God is waiting on us to make a move. We pray, but he shows us the steps and we have to take those steps. Action and faith have to meet together. So we have to take very aligned action. So moving forward sometimes is a sign of faith and obedience. Then there's sometimes that you're moving forward out of control. You're hiring someone to fix your problem or control the circumstances, which you cannot do. We don't have any control. God is in control. So the gut check question for you is, does this next step feel like obedience? Or does it feel like you're trying to control the situation? Those are 3 really good questions. So I would highly recommend you write those down and come back to them. Okay? So those are really like the preface of what we're starting with. Now, moving forward. So let's say you're like, okay, I have decided it is the right time to move forward. It feels like obedience. It feels like the right steps. My symptoms are telling me to. I gave my protocol 90 days. I am ready to do something else. These are your options moving forward. You could tweak one more lifestyle factor. So you could start really simply and be like, okay, I'm not going to do more testing, but I am going to tweak something else. So maybe it's stepping up your nutrition. Maybe it's stepping up how much sleep you get. Maybe it is changing your job. I talk all the time about how I feel like I'm constantly telling people to quit their jobs, and maybe I need therapy for that. I don't know. Or maybe we just all need to quit our jobs. But there is something so powerful about leaving a soul-sucking job, or a job where your boundaries are not healthy, or working long hours, or working swing shift. Maybe the tweak is your job. Maybe the tweak is the food you eat. Maybe the tweak is getting up earlier. I don't know, but you can always take one more lifestyle factor, because again, fertility is a reflection of our foundational health. So we're always looking at how can we take the life we live on a daily basis and make it more fertile. Fertility is really not found in these big, huge steps and procedures. It's really found in the little things you do over and over and over again. So continuing to tweak those things you're doing is going to add up and make a really big change. It will feel boring, but it'll be the thing that makes the difference. Okay, so you could tweak one more lifestyle factor, or you could consider more testing. Now, there are a lot of options when it comes to testing, and I don't want this episode to get too boring and heavy. So I'm just going to start with the top 3 that I think you should consider. If you are sitting kind of on the fence and you're like, I'm not sure exactly what to do, just start here. There's many more options. There's many more rabbit holes we can go down, but these are your top 3 in my personal and professional opinion. And number 1 is an HSG. This is a test to make sure that your tubes are open. So you'll go to the doctor, they'll flush dye through your tubes, watch it on like an x-ray type screen, and they're going to watch that dye flows through your tubes and into your uterus. Because if we have a blocked tube and the egg cannot get to the uterus, we have what I call a physical roadblock. It doesn't matter how much mineral balancing you do. It doesn't matter how much nervous system regulation you do. If the egg cannot get to the uterus, we have a problem. And I have seen that people have blocked tubes when there's no reason to have blocked tubes. This is definitely important for women who are dealing with secondary infertility, and maybe you had a C-section your first birth. Like, you could definitely have scar tissue that's blocking your tubes. If you have endometriosis, it could definitely be an issue, but I have seen it with people that had absolutely no reason to have a blocked tube, and they did. So typically what's going to happen is your doctor is going to tell you that you have to wait a year to get that test done. But I want you to go to the doctor, request this, and advocate for yourself. And just say, no, this is something I would really like to go ahead and get on the books. What do I have to do? And just keep asking them questions of like, hey, what do I have to do? I'll get it filed with my insurance. What do I need to do? So an HSG is your first step, in my opinion. Number 2 is going to be a vaginal microbiome test. I do this through Tiny Health with my clients. You can also do it through Evie. I really love Tiny Health. I just love the back end support I get as a practitioner, but very similar tests. I like Tiny Health a little bit more, but both great options. This is going to tell us that there's no infections or imbalances in the vaginal microbiome, which is really important, right, when we're making a baby. So even better if you can get a uterine one, which you can through companies like Fertilisys. This is just a really, really expensive test, so I don't recommend it a lot because it is out of people's budgets, but also something that you could ask your doctor for. If you're working with an OB or fertility clinic, you can say, hey, I would really like to be checked for endometritis, not endometriosis, which is also a good one to be checked for, but endometritis, which is just inflammation or some kind of infection or imbalance in the uterine cavity. But a vaginal microbiome test is a really great first step to take, because then we can balance out that environment and then everything's more hospitable to making a baby, right? So I think that's an easy place to start, something you can do at home. And I really like Tiny Health, and I include this in my Fruitful Fertility Method now because I find that it's that important of a test to just really check off our list. Number 3 is going to be HTMA. You probably knew that. If you've been around any length of time, you knew I was going to say HTMA, but I find that this is the test that gives me the most comprehensive information of how to support you. So yes, you can go down lots of different roads. You can go down blood labs, you can get a GI map, and you could do all these certain tests, but an HTMA tells me what's been going on in your body the last 3 to 4 months, which I find is very important because we need a view of what's happening on a daily basis, right? At the beginning, I said the things you do on a daily basis matter more. Same thing with this test. It's telling me kind of what's going on a daily basis. Is your blood sugar running low more often than it's not? Because with things like blood, I can check your insulin, but that's just a snapshot of that day and what you ate 2 hours before you had your blood drawn or what you didn't eat. But an HTMA will tell me what's happening over a longer period of time. It will also tell me about your thyroid. So if you're someone that's like, hey, all my thyroid labs were normal, but I'm still having like symptoms of low thyroid, then I'm like, I can tell you based on your HTMA. It also tells me if there's heavy metals present that are kind of creating a stressor in our body. So I talk a lot about like, it's stress, and you probably hear that all the time, and it's a really annoying answer, like it's stress, it's stress, it's stress. And it's like, okay, HTMA helps me find out what the stress is. Is it heavy metals? My intake call with you helps me determine if it is your workplace, if it is your marriage, if it is something emotional. And the HTMA will tell me, oh, it's actually because she's got too much uranium in her system. It's actually because her blood sugars are running low consistently. It's actually because she's not eating enough calories. It's actually because her nervous system is really running on empty. And so the HTMA test just gives me so much more information than any other test that I have found. It gives us a really broad, and that's kind of like counterintuitive to say it's broad and pinpointed, but it is. It's a broad, it covers a lot of ground, a lot of foundational work, and tells me exactly what to do about it. That's another thing I love, because sometimes with blood labs, we might get numbers back, but we don't know what to do about it. We don't know why that's happening. But with HTMA, I can see what is happening, and I can see the patterns that need to be improved, so I know exactly what to do. So I see all the time that my clients have increased energy right off the bat. They have better periods after, that first initial month where sometimes their period goes wonky. We have better cycles. They feel better in general coming into the program. They have more encouragement, more accountability, more hand-holding, and so they don't feel alone. So now they even have their hope back. But the HTMA gives us all of that. And I really I just can't say enough good things about it. And again, if you're wanting to do HTMA or this vaginal microbiome test, I want you to fill out that application in the show notes so we can schedule your free clarity call and talk about what this would look like for you. But HTMA, so HSG, vaginal microbiome, HTMA. And the last one, I'll just kind of throw this in as a bonus, is a sperm analysis for your husband. A lot of people wait a long time to do this. Do not do that. He is 50% of the equation. And we need both of you optimized to have the best chance at pregnancy. And usually if we do HTMA, I used to tell clients like, hey, you don't really need to do a sperm analysis, because if we are doing HTMA, then we're going to be optimizing for sperm quality anyways. But now I kind of feel, and I do believe that to be true, but at the same time, we do want to make sure there is sperm. We want to make sure we do have something to work with. So I think doing that sooner rather than later is a great option, because you can do it with, I use Fellow personally with my clients. Well, you can do it at home. They don't have to go into an office or a clinic and feel really weird. They can send their sample in from the safety of their home. It makes it super easy and effective. So it can be done easily. And you can tell your husband that. But that would be the bonus one. So let's recap a little bit. When is testing the right option? When should you consider more testing or the next step? Number one, you've given the first thing you've tried at least 90 days. 2, how are your symptoms? Are they better, worse, or indifferent? Number 3, the most important, does moving forward feel like obedience or control? Okay, and then if you do decide to move forward, you could tweak one more lifestyle factor. For your testing options, really good beginning testing options are getting that HSG done, advocating for yourself to get it done sooner, a vaginal microbiome screening, an HTMA test, and a sperm analysis for your husband. You don't have to go to a fertility clinic to do all that. We can do all of that together in the Fruitful Fertility Method. We can cover all of it. So if you're someone who's like, I know I need more, I don't want to wait a year, or I won't settle for IVF, I need a better option, this is it. So fill out that link in the show notes, let us schedule your call, and you can come into group coaching just like this. I love you. I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode touched your heart or taught you something, I'd be honored if you share it with a friend who could use the information too. And if you want to be the real MVP, then would you also take 30 seconds to tap those 5 stars at the bottom and leave a written review telling me what you're loving? It lights me up to know this podcast is really helping you. Don't forget, you're super cute and super fertile, so meet me back here next week and let's keep chatting and learning together.